Well, good afternoon, students. In the last class, you have already learnt on children by Professor Vishwaraja sir. And today, let us discuss everything I need to know I learned in the forest by Vandana Shiva. Vandana Shiva, she is an ecologist. Besides an environmentalist, and she had a great concern towards the nature. My dear students, will have to have some key points over here in order to learn an essay. This is not a story or a poem or a play, but it is an essay. In essay, whatever Vandana Shiva learned about environmental aspects, it might be biodiversity, forests, organic farming, and the relationship between the human beings and nature. Everything is being discussed over here. My dear students, there are few key points to remember in this essay. They are: number one, Chipko movement. Chipko movement, Vandana Shiva learns everything from the forest itself. Since her father was forest conservator and mother was farmer, and she learned everything after entering into the Himalayan Garhwal district. During partition of India and Pakistan, she learns to know the importance of the forest when the Chipko movement started. You know that Sundarlal Bahugun roles, his play is very important. At the same time, in 1970, what happened? Vachni Devi is also, she is also having more concern towards the trees when her husband had got the contract to cut down the trees. Meanwhile, along with many different peasant women, she protested them. This is what we find here, a special concern towards the environment and the trees or the forest or natural resources as we come across, my dear students. And coming to the second key point, beyond monocultures. Beyond monocultures, monocultures of the mind. The book writes by, or it is written by Vandana Shiva, monocultures of the mind. Monocultures of the mind. In this she writes, in this Vandana Shiva writes about the transformation of organic farming. She writes about how we must give importance to monocultures and biodiversity, and she learned everything. She learned everything to collect the seeds from the different farmers, and she established in 1994 Navadana farm in the Doon Valley, located in the lower Himalayan region. This is truly a great concern towards nature by Vandana Shiva, and even she established 100 seed banks PVC banks in order to help the farmers and to have a concern towards this. And moving on to rights of nature on the global stage. My dear students, the country called here, in their constitution, they already adopted rights of nature. Even United States of America in April 2011, it was recognized by UN General Assembly, and there was a conference on rights of nature. It shows us clearly how the country Ukidah, it was obviously initiated rights of nature. The concept was initiated by Ukidah itself, and it was organized by Simon Bolivia. The country is named after. And at the same time, we find that nature, as we are living in this world, on this beautiful earth, if you do not have concern, if you do not love the nature, nature will never love us. And even here, right, in the same way, Mr. Caroline Merchant, who is a South African environmentalist, who says or who points out the anti-apartheid movement, who initiates anti-apartheid movement. Anti-apartheid movement is nothing but against, in favor of the nature. Apartheid in the sense, apartheid is nothing but separateness. Many people, like it was based on, there was a protest against the nature. So he condemned it. Apartheid movement should not be there. So across the world, he wandered around 20 countries and he made a propaganda. After making a propaganda, he just established an anti-apartheid movement in order to cooperate the nature. That the human beings cannot be separated from this world, as we are the part of this nature, Mother Earth. My dear students, and moving on to the dead earth world view. In this, the dead earth world view, Vandana Shiva points out clearly that there are two writers or philosophers. The father of modern science, Mr. Francis Bacon, even in our English literature we call him as the father of essay, father of English essays. He too transforms his ideas, and already we have discussed Caroline Merchant, but here Cormac Cullinan, another environmentalist. Cormac Cullinan and Francis Bacon. These two people have transformed their ideas towards the nature. What we are doing, we are completely mutilating the Mother Earth. We are exploiting the nature in the name of the natural resources and the precious metals like gold, silver and other precious metals. This has to be controlled. Many scientists cultivated land into non-cultivated land. This is truly disgusting thing that it cannot be digested according to Cormac Lennon and Francis Bacon. Even they too say that there should be a shift from the violence of the nature towards the cooperation of the nature. Then only we can save this Mother Earth, and we will be the part of this Mother Earth, and we can be the best living beings of this Mother Earth. And my dear students, moving on to what nature teaches. Anthropocentrism to ecocentrism. My dear students, what nature teaches, it can also be told as earth democracy. Earth democracy in the sense, in this nature, as we are part of this, we should love, we should have affection towards all the living beings. We should not become only we ourselves as the main heroes, because after the creation of the forests, rivers, lakes, and other living beings, God has created human beings. It's everyone's part and parcel, especially we the human beings, because we are all the rational animals. We being rational animals, we should know the importance of the other living creatures who are living on this earth. Otherwise what happens? We become totally supreme, and let us separate this egoness from us. That is what anthropocentrism, the concept anthropocentrism. Anthropos means human beings. This is Greek word. My dear students, anthropos means human beings. Kentron means human beings. Let us not to have human-centric or human-centered element. Let us not to make this nature as human-centric. Instead, we need to change it into egocentric. Ecological, as we classify here. Excuse me. In this anthropocentrism, see, human beings are going to say that we have already possessed this nature, and we have owned this nature, Mother Earth. Here the human beings have become supreme, not the nature itself. And whatever we do it will become the law. Whereas here in ecocentrism, it's not like that. When we become part of this nature, when we become part of this nature, not as a whole of this nature, when we become a part of this nature, right, so that we can be able to live with harmony and cooperation, then there will be a place for us. If we go against the nature, as we promote this idea that is anthropocentrism, definitely we may not have any life at all. This is the concept that we have in this earth democracy we learn. And moving on to poetry of the forest, Rabindranath Tagore. My dear students, you know that who is Rabindranath Tagore? Rabindranath Tagore is a Nobel laureate who got Rabindranath Tagore got Nobel Prize in 1913. Rabindranath Tagore got Nobel Prize in 1913. He is the first Indian to get Nobel Prize for literature for Gitanjali. My dear students, why Vandana Shiva has taken the reference of Rabindranath Tagore? Rabindranath Tagore started Shantiniketan. My dear students, Rabindranath Tagore started Shantiniketan in the year 1921. Shantiniketan in West Bengal, it is a learning center for all. What kind of learning center? Poetry of forest. Poetry of the forest. I mean, everyone should learn about the forests. As we are the communion with trees, lakes, rivers, entire this mother earth, especially nature, both the fauna and flora, plant kingdom. My dear students, how Rabindranath Tagore writes through his book called Tapovan. Tapovan is a book, purity of forest. In this book, he says that, in Tapovan, he says that, see, man has learned so many things from the forest only. The evolution of his intellectual, his wisdom, and his other developments, all-round development, he has completely developed, he has learned, he has become completely a perfect human being. It's because of forests only, not from the crowds, not from the cities. That is why even he says that diversity without unity becomes a ground for external control. And if there is diversity and unity, definitely, especially in terms of forest, we can have the equal amount of value. Otherwise, we become only the supreme, or we will be having our own rights and duties, but there will be no importance of the other living beings called animals or plants. So if they are completely denied from this world, who else will be taking care of them, according to Vandana Shiva? Even Tagore writes in this that sense of beauty, I mean aesthetic sense, the beauty, the knowledge, everything has come from the forest itself. We cannot say that, because we come across many poets and poems, right? Many poets have written poems on the themes of forest, nature. It might be the lake, waterfall, river, sea, garden. There are different things. My dear students, so Rabindranath Tagore shows us whatever we are living in this world, it is entirely enveloped by the God itself. That is what what we have made. So, what we have made this Mother Earth in the name of our desires, in the name of our requirements, in the name of our ambitions, we have completely destroyed the Mother Earth. So, let us stop it. Let us stop it. Let us not have greedy violence and conquest. Instead, let's have cooperation, compassion and harmony, so that only we can be able to save this Mother Earth, nature, especially the forests, because forests are only going to give us all the basic necessities, all the basic facilities. If forests are not there, human beings will not be there. Not only human beings, even other living creatures who are present on this earth will not be there. That is the reason Rabindranath Tagore pointed out everything in this key point, that is poetry of the forest. My dear students, I just told you few important points to these 6 key points. Now, let us discuss in detail, because essay is nothing but it is the mixture of so many things. It's not based on only one particular theme. That's the reason. So, if you concentrate, if you make the points in this way, you will be able to understand this essay, that is everything I need to know I learned in the forest. My dear students, let us go to now the introduction of the well-known essayist called Vandana Shiva. How Vandana Shiva makes her views on forests and other creatures, especially we the human beings in this world, on this earth. My dear students, Vandana Shiva, everything I need to know I learned in the forest, wrote this article for the issue titled, What Would Nature Do? She wrote the article, What Would Nature Do? Winter 2012 of Yes Magazine. It was published in Winter 2012 Yes Magazine. She is an internationally renowned activist for biodiversity and against corporate globalization. International activist for biodiversity against the corporate globalization, because in the name of globalization we are going against the nature. Even many people will speak, but she published many articles. The same way, here in your syllabus, particularly for second PU English, they have subscribed PU board, because in order to bring to your notice and to prevent you towards the concern towards nature. In what way? Whether students have concern towards on other aspects. At the same time, they should think and go through in what way they should have special interest in the nature. justice, sustainability and peace, soil not oil. These are all her books. And staying alive, the last section of this essay was adopted by the author. Last section of this essay adopted by the author from Forest and Freedom, written by Vandana Shiva and published in the May or June 2011 edition of Resurgence magazine. Resurgence magazine is nothing but rebirth, resurgence, rebirth, revival of art and literature. Vandana Shiva is a contributing editor. In this essay, Vandana Shiva first tells us how she learned about environmentalism from the uneducated women of Garhwal Himalaya. While the government officials and men were cutting down trees for logs, the women showed them that the trees and forests were living things. When government officials went against the trees, against the forest to cut down, meanwhile the uneducated women of Garhwal, peasant women, they went in favor of the trees. They protested against the forest officials who went for cutting the trees. Later, Vandana learned all the major ideals of a good life from the forest. They are diversity of life forms and need to accept diversity as the principle of life. Diversity of life forms, and it has to become principle of life, my dear students. Earth is our mother and not just raw material. Earth is our mother, it's not just raw material. To be exploited, we need to live in harmony with nature. Let us not exploit. Let us not exploit Mother Earth. Instead, we have to have harmony with her. Earth democracy, respecting the freedom of all species of life to evolve and live together. Earth democracy teaches us we should live with all the other living beings. The Indian tradition to ecology as recognized by Tagore, the culture of the forest is a true Indian culture. The culture of the forest is a true Indian culture in the sense. The culture of the forest has taught the human beings in what way he has now culture. In what way we have now culture in our day-to-day routine. We have learned it from the forest only. Thus, Vandana Shiva says that the forests teach us the values of diversity, freedom and coexistence. Diversity, freedom and coexistence. So if we have these things, definitely we will be able to have a special concern. Right, my dear students, everything I need to know, I learned the forest. Now, let us look at this essay. Have you heard of Chipko movement in the pre-reading activity? What is its significance? Chipko movement in the sense Sundarlal Garu, even Apko movement and all, we call it. What was the role played by women in this movement? Women played a predominant role in order to protect the trees, the natural resources. That's all. My dear students, see Vandana Shiva, she says that my ecological journey started in the forests of Himalaya. The ecological journey started from the forest of Himalaya. She started her journey. Her father was a forest conservator and her mother was a farmer. After fleeing the drastic partition of India and Pakistan, during partition of India and Pakistan, she learns, she came to know that what is the importance of forests. It is from the Himalayan forests She learns Himalayan forests and ecosystems after entering into Himalayan, Garhwal especially. The songs and poems of mother composed for us were about trees, forests and India's forest civilizations. Many people composed their songs, ballads. Many people composed their songs and ballads on the theme of trees, rivers, lakes, especially forests. That's all. We know that how our ancestors had a special interest, how they used to love the forests, the trees and rivers. So here, in this today's world, as they had the special concern, as they were having crave for them, we don't have the same. It's because of we are completely motivated by the present influences, the modern influences. Technology. Technology has changed the minds, brainwash. So we are not looking after the past, the history. My involvement in the contemporary ecology movement began with Chipko, a non-violent response to the large-scale deforestation. Chipko, a non-violent response to the large scale of deforestation, Chipko movement. It was a non-violent movement against the deforestation, large scale deforestation that was taking place in Himalaya region. My dear students, initially it was it was from Amrita Devi. Amrita Devi, 1970. Chipko. Later on we find that Sundaral Bogun and many other environmental activists, environmental attorneys, logging outlets in the 1970s, peasant women from my region, Himalaya, Garhwal Himalaya, had come out in defense of the forest. In 1970, many peasant women came to protect the forests. It's because not that they were living there. It's because they devoted, they used to worship them, they used to love them. That's the reason they came in favor of the forests. As we know that logging had led to landslides and floods, cutting down the trees, deforestation, leading towards natural disasters. That is, with landslides, floods, and the scarcity of water, fodder, and fuel. My dear students, we are facing so many difficulties, innumerable natural calamities. Some are unbelievable, like corona. It is also one of the natural calamities, but it is untold, unpredicted, as we are facing in into it. But when we come across this kind of deforestation, definitely we may not get water by 2030. If we save the Mother Earth will save us. If we vanish her, if we completely destroy her, definitely she will also come against us. This is what the reality, my dear students. Since women provide these basic needs, the scarcity means longer walks for collecting water, firewood, and a heavier burden. Women provide basic needs. They have to bring pots of water from the farthest area, even the wood. It has become a heavier burden for them, collecting water and firewood. Women knew that the real value of forests was not the timber making furniture. We use the wood for making the table, window, doors, and many other articles. Women knew that the real value of forests, not the timber itself from a dead tree, but the springs and streams. The springs and streams. The tree, from dead tree, it was not only used for making other articles, but at the same time, the springs and streams, it was helpful. Food for their cattle during the season, springs, the autumn, between summer and winter. The wood is used as a fuel, and streams even to constrain or to obstruct in the rainy season. They had to put the cut trees in order to obstruct the water. Food for their cattle and fuel for their birds. Birds means dwelling place. Birds. My dear students, the women declared that they would hug the trees and the loggers would have to kill them before killing the trees. Women declared that if they kill the women, definitely, if they kill the trees, killing women was not a bigger issue for the official or the wood cutters, but at the same time, the women told that after hugging the trees, they said that if you want to kill the trees, you cut us, you kill us first, then you cut the trees. It was a great initiative. It was a great initiative by the peasant women of Karwal. A folk song of that period said, these beautiful oaks and rhododendrons, they give us cool water. Don't cut these trees. We have to keep them alive. My dear students, they have, as per the environmental view or perspective, beautiful oaks, rhododendrons, what they are giving cool water. Let us not to cut the and crops, as we are eating daily, as we are dependent, but still we have to know, we have to learn the reality. Most of us, we are hiding the reality and going against the nature. That is the reason we are unable to cooperate. We are unable to love the nature. We are unable to adjust with the nature. This is what we are. In 1973, I had gone to visit my favorite forest and swim in my favorite stream. 1973, she had gone to visit her forest. She wanted to swim, as before she swam, as she wanted to go to Canada for studying her PhD or for doing her PhD. But the forests were gone and the streams was reduced to a trickle. Flowing earlier, streams, small streams were there where she used to swim, but now trickle, they stopped to flow. Earlier, they used to flow full of gush of water. There was completely overflow in the water. Overflow in the, overflow of water in the river. In the river or waterfall or small streams or pools. But now, she is not finding that. Why? Now the water has become stagnant because of deforestation. There lies the reality. I decided to become a volunteer for the Chipko movement, and I spent every vacation doing padayatras, walking pilgrimages. She decided to become activist, and she started to do padayatras, walking pilgrimages, so that she will be able to convey the message. She will be able to at least prevent the people. She will be able to inform the people so that they know that and they learn to have love towards nature. They start to protect the forests. I spent every vacation doing padayatras, walking pilgrimages, documenting the deforestation and the work of the forest activists, and spreading the message of Chipko, documenting the deforestation work of the forest activists. She did it. She not only worked as an ecologist, but also an environmental attorney, an activist in the forest, in order to bring the awareness among the people through the messages, spreading through the messages in the Chipko movement. One of the dramatic Chipko actions took place in the Himalayan village of Adwani in 1977. 1997, as I told you, my dear students, Chipko movement started in Adwani village. When a village woman named Bachni Devi led resistance against her own husband, she went against against her own husband, who had a contract to cut down the trees. When officials arrived at the forest, the women held up lighted lanterns, although it was broad daylight. Lighted lanterns. Why is lantern? See, they had a lantern. A lantern in the sense of lamps. Lamps. They had lamps lighted. They lighted. They had lighted lamps. That in a day, in order to protest the officials who came there to cut down the trees. That in a day, light. The forester asked them to explain. The women replied. Forester started to explain. Then the women replied, "We have come to teach you forestry. We have come to teach you forestry. How you can protect this nature about the forest." Women replied, "We have come over here to teach you about the forests." But the official told what he told, retorted. What he told here, "You foolish women, how can you prevent tree? Foolish women, how can you prevent tree? Felling by those who know the value of the forest. You know that we cut them. You do not know the value of the forest. If we cut them, do you know what forests bear? What forests bear? What forests sustain? They produce profit and resin and timber. They profit a brownish color. That is resin, sticky. Yellow sticky substance. Resin and timber. We get the resin, sticky substance in a brown, yellowish color. And timber in the sense it is used for making furniture. The women sang back in chorus. What do the forests bear? Soil, water, and pure air. They started to sing a song. Soil, water, and pure air. Soil, water, and pure air. Sustain the earth and all she bears. Sustain the earth. They said, try to save this Mother Earth so that all will be in peace. All will be into peace. And Almighty will also respect us. If we do not save the trees, if we do not save the forests, we do not have any life at all. So my dear students, till the Chipko moment we have discussed in today's class. In the next class will be going to beyond the monoculture. Hope you have understood today's class. Everything I need to know, I learned the forest, about Chipko movement, and the key points of this essay by Vandana Shiva. Please like the videos and keep subscribing. Along with that, go through the textbook so that it will be more useful for you to understand. More you read, more you become less you read, less you become perfect. No you read, never you become perfect. This is the reality. I being a teacher, I have to tell people, even I am also a student. We cannot say that we are teachers. That's what, my dear students, hope you have gone through my today's class and keep watching English classes on YouTube, Swiguru Independent View online classes. Thank you very much.